analytics team here at Royal Cyber. And for today, the agenda is going to be about Royal Cyber and our data and AI practice. A little bit about Microsoft Copilot and Microsoft Fabric and Copilot. And we have some use cases to show, and there is going to be a lot of demos in between. So Royal Cyber is IT consulting and a digital transformation company. We specialize in software services and solutions. We have 2,000 plus employees globally. We have 11 offices around the globe, and we have three innovation centers where we do a lot of R&D, and we have clients, more than 600 plus clients, and we operate across like 12 industries. We are ISO certified company, and we are strategic partnerships with AWS, Google, Azure, all major cloud computing companies. So some of the digital transformation services, whatever we do here at Royal Cyber, includes digital experience and portal, data science, blockchain, DevOps, and also we do mobile solutions and cloud solutions. A little about data and AI practice here at Royal Cyber. We are partnered with Snowflake, Azure, AWS, DataRobot, Databricks, and our clients include Capital One, Humana, Omega, Niagara Water Bottles, TradeWeb, IHS MarketCap. So we have expertise here in Royal Cyber with Copilot, Vertex AI from Google, AWS, Databricks, Spark, Python, Azure, SageMaker. So what is Microsoft Copilot? Pretty sure like everyone must have heard about Microsoft Copilot here, right? That's the buzzword going around. It's a generative AI assistant that is going to sit on multiple channels. It can be like a Teams, it can be like a Slack, it can be a web application. It can be sitting in multiple channels, waiting for your prompt. Prompt is nothing but the question you ask. The moment you ask a question, it is going to go towards its knowledge base, whatever it has, and just it's going to answer from the knowledge base. The knowledge base can be like the web, or it can be some custom documents specific to your organization, right? So Copilot is again like empowered in all 365 applications, Microsoft 365 applications, including Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Teams, pretty much in all Microsoft 365 applications. And it comes with multiple flavors, not just like 365 applications. It is also embedded in Microsoft Dynamics. There is a Copilot for security, which is going to look into your Azure tenant and see like how your applications are secured. It is secured, not secured, what level of security is there, how to improve your security. All this kind of information can be gathered from Copilot. And behind the scenes, it uses large language model to generate contextual suggestions, and it can simplify complex tasks. So for example, in programming language, right, you see the GitHub Copilot that can sit within your IDE, where you write your coding and everything, and based on the code you are writing and the intent of your code, it can suggest you like what type of code has to be written, like how it can be changed, and how it can make it better in terms of like development lifecycle. So before diving deep into like what Copilot is, let's understand a little bit about what generative AI is. So generative AI is the backbone for like all this Copilot and other assistant applications, right? So generative AI allows creating like high quality content at scale and enables new application across industries. So it is mostly you must have heard about like Chat GPT, large language models, these kind of applications. They operate on like a larger data set. Okay, it is trained on a larger data set, and it understands your patterns, and based on the patterns and the context, it will provide you suggestions, and it can answer you the questions. So right now we are moving from a world of keyword search, like how Google used to be. You go to Google, you give a keyword, and Google is going to search within that huge database all the files that matches that keyword, right? From that to moving to semantic search, which means it is all going to be context based, and it is not going to give you like a big set of result back to you, where you should again like traverse through that search and find the answer by yourself. Instead, like if you use Google right now, you search for something, first part of the Google search is coming back with an AI answer, and the second set of answers is what the keyword search is. So that's the difference it's making. So some of the capabilities include like it can understand and generate human-like text. It is able to generate realistic and creative images and text descriptions, and it is also generating like human-like speech. There are like lots of applications where you can use like a text convert into a speech, or you can use a text convert into a video. So it is transforming many industries, not just like limited to manufacturing, healthcare, or retail. And it has potential to transform pretty much most of the industries in the world now. So some of the large language models include like Chat GPT. Pretty much we are all aware of. So now in the world, like the most popular search engine was Google. So everyone used to go to Google and ask questions. Now everyone is going to Chat GPT and asking their questions. Like it's looking for a prompt, gathering the prompt, and based on the data it is being trained, it is providing you the answers. And DALI, pretty much everyone are aware of. Whisper is for text to speech. It is developed by Anthropic. It was designed to generate like natural sounding human speech. It learns the acoustic properties of the human voice, and then like it converts text into an audio. Cicero is another AI system that is developed by Anthropic. This is for converting your text into a video. So there is one which is released by, which I think it's not yet released for everyone to use, called Sora by OpenAI. So that again like accepts text as an input. It converts that text into like a video, and the end output is a video. And now all the large language models are like multimodal have multimodal capabilities, which means the way it started in ChatGPT is what, like you give a text as a prompt, you're going to get text as a response back from the ChatGPT. Now you can give a text as a prompt, and you can ask for images. It is going to give you images right now. So pretty much all the large language models have capability for multimodals. So this rapid advancement in generative AI will become like exponentially more capable with as more compute power increases. So that's what all the chip industry is working towards, to have like a better compute. And the AI is now going to be available for anyone, not just the experts. So it used to be like programming language is mostly for people who already know about like how to code and everything. So now it's going to be like very common for everyone to use, not just the experts. And the more and more the generative AI and AI based application grow up, the scope of developing new applications is also like going to go up like really crazy. So you have an idea, you have a thought process, you can come up with an application like in quick time. So whenever you have a question, right? So whenever you think like, okay, I want to use an AI, I want to build an AI for your organization. The first thing you should that should come to your mind is, what is that one thing which I do today that can be like improved by generative AI? So if you don't have an answer for that, like you don't have to use an AI for any other purpose at all, right? So this leads to the age of Copilot. So everyone in this cloud computing business, including Google or Azure or AWS, they're all trying to build a assistant, right? So previously it used to be like a chat where you go and ask your questions. Now everyone is trying to build an assistant. Like you could have seen in WhatsApp, there is a Meta AI sitting inside your WhatsApp application, right? You open the WhatsApp, there is a Meta AI, so you can go ask questions to AI, it will answer you. It's an assistant sitting in your phone. So the same way, Microsoft created this thing called Copilot, and it integrated within all the Microsoft 365 applications. So you pay for $20, I think, like for a month, and you get access to Copilot within all the 365 applications. So which means there's a Copilot sitting in your Outlook. So you ask it to write an email for you, it will write an email. You ask it to respond to an email, it will respond to an email. There's a Copilot which is sitting in your PowerPoint. So you can ask it to, I want to create a slide for artificial intelligence. It will create a slide for you. And you can also like give more prompts to make it like more accurate on the results and everything. So what is this Microsoft Copilot? Let's hear from what Microsoft has to say about this one. So this is just a gist of like what Microsoft Copilot is. Okay, and it sits on all your D365 application as shown over here, and it is going to sit and assist you on all your questions. So let's take a look at, like, say for example, uh, you have a you have a bunch of documents. Okay, now you want to share the documents to the Copilot, and you want to ask questions from that shared documents. So that's where like you create your own custom Copilot. So you don't want to use you don't want to use Microsoft's Copilot, but you want to use a custom Copilot. Say for example, your application is sitting in some SFTP location. Okay, it's not within Microsoft ecosystem. How do you bring in that data into your to Microsoft Copilot so that it can start answering from that documents which is sitting in your SFTP? So here is a companion which we created for a company called Ktech. Okay, so their requirement is they have a bunch of documents. Okay, and all like complex documents which are they are like ceramic tile industry. They have a lot of chemical combination, this and that and everything, like sitting across like multiple documents. So anytime a user has a question, so all they have to do is go to the document, find the appropriate answer from the document, and then come back with a response. So which is like a time consuming process for them. So they asked us to create an assistant, just talk to the document, get me the right answer for them. So, and they want that document, that assistant to be sitting within a Teams application, so that everyone in the organization will be having an access to that Copilot, and everyone can start using that Copilot. So here is an example of that, what we created. So you just start a conversation, and then like it is sitting there and listening for your conversation, and like we can ask the question like. So it comes back with an answer, and it will also tell you like from where it picked that answer from. So it picked the answer from this part of the website. Okay. Let's ask this question. So here's the answer for the next question, right? So they have a requirement on two documentation. One is the documents which are present in their SFTP location, and two, the documents that are present in their website. So this Copilot is learning all the information which is present in their website, as well as the documents which are present in their SFTP location, and gathering all the documentation and showing it over here. Like when you ask a question, the data is already embedded within the Copilot in the form of like index vector in vector DBs, and then like it is going to talk to that data and getting the information for you. So this is one use case. It can be like you can create like a HR assistant. So you have like bunch of HR documents in your organization. So anytime a person has a question on HR related to HR, so he has to go to that HR person and he has to ask the question. Sometimes the HR is available and ready to answer. Sometimes the HR has to go through the documents, understand herself before answering the question. So all this can be taken care and can be deployed in like your ecosystem within a Teams or a Slack channel, whatever you use for day-to-day communication within the business. So this is our first example. And going forward, so Copilot for 365 helps you unlock productivity and unleash the creativity. So it uses large language models. All your data is present inside your Microsoft Graph, and it is sitting on all your Microsoft 365 applications. And it also has access to the internet, so it can pick the data from the internet. So Copilot for 365 is transforming the way we work. So 68% said like Copilot improved the quality of their work. 70% said it made them more productive, and 77% said they don't want to give up Copilot. And it is not just like transforming the few of the industries which are listed here. It is pretty much transforming all the all the other parts of the industry as well. It's not just limited to HR, marketing, sales, customer service, data and IT professionals, and or finance. So if the Copilot has use case for pretty much every end user. Maybe like marketing, maybe like IT professionals. For everyone, there is a use case for a Copilot. So here is another example of Copilot, which is sitting on team. So there is a conversation happening, which is like a team meeting where like 5 or 10 people are attending the team meeting. And this is like an hour conversation. Imagine a person listening to that 1 hour or 2 hour conversation, and he has to prepare the minutes of meeting for that for the conversation, and he has to prepare the key topics, action items, and summary. So the Copilot, which is sitting in the team, will go through will record the entire transcript and go through that transcript, and it created this minutes of meeting just after the call is over. So this Copilot and assistants are like a new way of working that involves both software and culture change. So if you are part of an organization and you want to introduce Copilot to your organization, it is a 3-phase approach. First, you need to make sure your organization is ready for the change, and then you need to have adopt the change, and then you need to measure how the Copilot is being used in your organization, right? For example, we can help you with readiness of an organization where we can set up the licenses. We can start with like some quick wins, and we can help you create an AI council. And then you need to adopt that Copilot. So you need to create some user community, and you can come up with like some use cases where the Copilot can be used better in your organization. And then you can enable the Copilot for a specific set of users for whom it will be like really helpful, and then you measure how it has been helpful for your organization. And you have to meet with the AI council bi-weekly and see how it is progressing and come up with some new use cases which can be like really helpful for your organization. Microsoft also provides a dashboard where you can see like how the 365 applications are being used, and also how Copilot help people who are using this 365 application. Say, for example, in PowerPoint, how many are using PowerPoint and how many were finding it helpful while using Copilot within the PowerPoint. So all this kind of information is part of this dashboard, which is again like sitting within the Microsoft Azure. So here is the basic architecture of how this Copilot is working. So say, for example, a user has a prompt. The user says like, summarize the latest updates on a particular project. Okay, the prompt is now sent to Copilot. And then Copilot doesn't have any data as of now, right? So it goes, looks at the Microsoft Graph. Graph is where all your context data, emails, files, meeting, chats, all the calendar information, everything is sitting within your Microsoft Graph. Now it collects all the information from the graph. Now it takes the modified prompt to the large language model. Now the large language model will process and will try to answer the question. And now it comes back with a response. And now it is gone again like back to Microsoft Graph for post processing. And once all this process, everything is done, like the response, the finalized response is sent back to the customer. And this is how the Copilot today is, working, whatever you see in D365 applications. So now, say for example, if you want to just use the Microsoft Copilot, which is coming embedded within the Microsoft ecosystem, then it is pretty straightforward. You just have to enable the Copilot for your organization and start using the Copilot. Let's assume you want to integrate your Copilot with some third-party applications, right? You have, say, for example, you have data, you have an ITSM tool, and you have some knowledge base sitting in your ITSM tool. It can be like a BMC remedy tool, or it can be a service now. Now you want that data also to be discovered by your Copilot. So there are like two ways you can achieve this. One is by creating plugins, where you can talk to your third party using APIs, right? So your organization, they have or your service now, they have a bunch of APIs with which you can talk to that service now. You can either use it for creating tickets, or you can use it for creating your knowledge base or reading a knowledge base. So you can use plugins to talk to your external data using APIs. And the other one is graph connectors. Graph connectors will help you uh, to talk to your data. Again, like for using a graph connector, you need to pull all the data from the service now or any other third-party tool back into your graph. So again, like Microsoft by default provides a set of graph connectors which is connecting to your service now, SAP, or some other data sources. Now, if you want to, if you have a custom source, say for example, your data is sitting in your SQL, okay, and you want to bring that data from SQL into your Copilot, then you can build your own graph connectors. So you can create your custom graph connector, pull the data from the SQL and push it to your semantic index, and then like you can ask questions from your Copilot. Okay, so this is how you. These are two different flavors of Copilot. One is you can extend the Microsoft Copilot. Extending the Copilot means like you use the graph connector to pull data, push it to a Microsoft Graph. Then you can use the built-in Copilot from Microsoft Team, or like I showed you, you can create your own custom Copilot. So, and you can cater that for your particular needs. So the Copilot can not just only talk to your documents, it can also talk to your third-party application using APIs. And you can create your own custom Copilot using Copilot Studio, and using the Copilot Studio inside your Teams, or also using using the Copilot Studio from the cloud. So I'll show you like how we create Copilot from the Copilot Studio. So this is the Copilot Studio. Okay, and here are the list of Copilots which we have already created. So all you have to do is like go to Copilot Studio, and if you know what you have to do, all you have to do is like create a new ask it to create a new Copilot, and then once it is created, you will have something like you have a view something like this. And you can keep adding files, or you can create plugins. And then like by creating plugins, you're talking to third-party applications or third-party data stores. Okay, so this is actually how a Copilot Studio will look like. And here's the workflow of Copilot Studio. So everything, whatever you create, whatever you saw right now as a Copilot Studio is a creation layer. From there, you will have plugins that can actually pull up the data from any third-party sources. So you have like creation layer and discovery layer and data layer for this. So as I said, like there are two ways you can talk to your external data. One is using plugins. So plugins expand your user skills by interacting with your web services using natural language. So you have an API endpoint, and now you have to talk. Your Copilot should understand and talk to that API endpoint. So your Copilot has to be trained in such a way that it knows. Say for example, to create a user, talk to this endpoint. To delete a user, talk to the other endpoint. So your Copilot will be trained so that it knows when you're asking for it to create a user, it has to go talk to this endpoint. When you're asking it to delete, it has to talk to the other endpoint. So all this can be done using plugins, right? So you see the graph connector and plugin, we both can access external data and both can help you get the data to the Copilot so that you can ask questions from there. So here are the building blocks for creating a plugin. So you need to have an API, you need to have a manifest. Manifest is again like information more about your API, and the third one is an adaptive card. Adaptive card is how your response is going to look like. Okay. Let's see the second example, second demo over here. Let's take this example. So one of our client, so they use MuleSoft for developing APIs. Okay. So every time the client has a question about if is my API up and running, how many requests are my API serving? Um, is the API deployed in hybrid mode, or is it in cloud, or is it in on-prem? All these kind of questions every time she comes to uh, one of the resources who is working over there, and then like he has to go and find that answer for her and take that answer back to uh, the owner who asked that question. Now MuleSoft also provide a bunch of APIs answering these questions. So what we did, we created a custom Copilot for that organization, which will actually, whenever there is a question, she will just go. All she has to go is go over here and ask question like this: show me the list of hybrid applications. Then it will show you the list of hybrid applications. Then you can literally ask it like show me the complete details, and it will show the excuse me, complete details of that particular application, whether it is started, stopped, where is it running, what is the name of the application, and everything. So this application completely leverages a set of APIs from MuleSoft to get the answer for the question asked by the end user, and it is talking to the APIs and getting the answer, showing it over here. So this way, the time taken for the end user to get an answer about an application is literally reduced. So that complete flow, you don't have to do that manual work at all. So that's the idea of this Copilot. So I click choose a different application. It will show you like list of applications, and then like you can pick any application you want, and then you can say like, okay, get application status. It will give you the status, and you say go show complete details. It will give you the complete details. Any questions or anything? Do you guys?
Yeah, I will have questions at the end.
Okay, you got good. Okay, sounds good. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. And if you have any good use cases, also you can bring it up. Like that will be like really helpful. Okay. So here is another example of Copilot, where this is connecting to your Jira for all your tickets, and when once all the data is all the data is ready, then you can ask questions and it will start answering your questions. So this literally pulls all the information from Jira using APIs. This as a project manager or someone who will be really using this Jira will be like really helpful for that person. Imagine like you have to navigate through different pages to get all this information. Instead, you'll be having this plugin sitting in your Microsoft Teams. You ask a question, the Copilot will take care of where to ask, how to ask, and everything, and it will pull all your data for you. This is one of the custom Copilot which we created here, and we are using this one. So one more good thing is like it will also come up with an information saying, okay, this is the answer for you, and this is how I prepared this answer, and it will show you the links which were used uh, to prepare this answer. So it is not like bluntly saying, okay, this is the answer, right? So it will give you the complete hierarchy from where it picked that information from. Right. So this is the place where it shows like where it picked the answers from. And this is what I call it as adaptive card. So whatever you saw over this, how the answer should be displayed for the end user is what is designed in the adaptive card. So this, whatever you see over here as a Jira cloud and everything, these are all part of the adaptive cards. And all this information are coming through as a JSON from the API. And then like once the answer is received, that is sent to the LLM. And then LLM will process the answer, and then it will come back with this. The JSON will not come with this set of like 1, 2, and 3 and everything, right? So the LLM is processing that information and comes back with that kind of a response for you. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So as I said, like there are two ways you can interact with third-party applications. So one is uh, using plugins, and the other one is using graph connectors. So graph connectors increases the discoverability and engagement of your enterprise data to deeply integrate your data in Copilot for 365 experience. So you can expand your organization knowledge using graph connector. It provides you a connected experience, and you can also build your own custom graph connectors. Graph connector is, if you think it's like a big semantic index, it's a multi-dimensional database which is going to pull all the information and plot it to the closest proximity. And based on that, your data is being converted into embeddings. Embeddings are like set of numbers which are produced, and it is stored like to the closest proximity. The moment you ask a question, your LLM does is go try find the closest proximity of your question and pull the answers from that, and it delivers to you in a natural language. So here is an example of how you can create your custom graph connector.
Hi everyone, myself Asfan. Today I'll talk about how to build custom graph connector. We'll have an introduction to graph connector and then we'll see its architecture and we'll set up a custom graph connector. In the overview, we can see that we have a different line of application like project data, finance application, custom lab application, custom database. If we have to index the content of our custom business application into the Microsoft, as we have other Microsoft application like Microsoft 365, it's the place where Microsoft Graph came in action. Three things involved in building custom graph connector. First, we have to prepare content, then we have to authenticate, and then we have to push our schema to the graph connectors. And then here we'll see the step one. We have to prepare the content which we have to ingest. So we set up the content and in the CSV file, and then we'll register our application to the admin center. We have to register app, we have to set up some permissions, and we have to generate client secrets, and then we have to copy all the credentials to use inside the application. In the third step, we'll set up our code where we will define the settings and provide the credential we copied. Then we define the schema, and then we'll create a graph helper class which will communicate with graph connector, and then we'll see its output like this in the Microsoft Copilot 365. We'll search some content which we prepared in the content, and it's producing the result on the basis of that content. Thank you.
So that's a custom graph connector. So, the two demos, whatever we saw right now, were custom Copilot, where you were seeing custom Copilot. So this is how your Copilot will sit within your team. So whatever you see here, this is actually the actual Copilot that comes with Microsoft 365. When you use a graph connector, you're not going to create a custom Copilot. Instead, you're going to all your data is available for the M365 Copilot to use. So now, so he created a custom graph connector, and we can start using this Copilot. Tell me about the. Okay. I'm not sure like what question he has. Right. So currently we have 350 door hinges for refrigerators and 388 door hinges for dishwasher. So whatever you saw over there, that's the data we ingested, right? So we said like, okay, this is the door hinge and this is the number of door hinges, whatever we have. So when you ask question, LLM was able to correctly identify what it is, and it was able to bring the proper data. And this data is within your tenant. So this data is not used for training or anything of other LLMs. So whatever you post within Microsoft 365 is specific only for your particular tenant. So again, so you have external data sources. You want that to be indexed, and then once it is indexed, then you can start asking questions. It can be the question. Once your data is in your Microsoft Graph, it can be accessible from your SharePoint as well as Microsoft Copilot. So here is an example of Graph Connector, which we use for GitHub. So we pulled all the data from the GitHub for this particular organization, and then like you ask question, and here's your answers. Okay, so Microsoft Graph Connector pulls all the data from the third-party services and pushes it to your graph, and it is secured. It can pull data from you can pull data from your IoT devices. It can be files, events. It can be anything. And once your data is ready for your Copilot to answer in a natural language way, all the data should be in the form of embeddings, and it should be in a semantic index. Let's see how semantic index works.
Semantic Index for Copilot creates a sophisticated map of your personal and company data, identifying relationships and making important connections. In fact, your brain works like a semantic index by encoding multiple words and pictures to create a larger conceptual map of information. For example, a semantic map of what the average person knows about elephants would include things like elephants have trunks, and elephants travel in herds, and elephants live in Africa. Today, people are mostly familiar with keyword search, which relies on exact words and phrases. So, when you search for March sales report, you get a list of documents that include exactly those 3 words. But a semantic index understands that sales reports are produced by Kelly on the finance team and published each month as an Excel file. And it encodes all of these concepts and relationships between concepts in vectors in the index. Semantic Index for Copilot analyzes your data. That's all your emails, documents, calendar, chats, and more in the Microsoft Graph, and uses a large language model, or LLM, to map all your content and the relationships between your content and you, searching through billions of vectors to find the most relevant results in milliseconds. It's what enables Microsoft 365 Copilot to deliver personalized, relevant, and actionable responses, and do so in a secure, compliant, privacy-preserving way. Semantic Index for Copilot enables every organization to be AI ready.
Yeah, I hope that helps about like what my semantic index is. Right. There are a lot of use cases for Microsoft Copilot. Right? It can be like a HR assistant. It can be like a training assistant. So onboarding assistant for the new employees. And today we picked up like two use cases, just to go a little bit in detail and see like how Copilot can help in help in these two use cases.
Yeah, Copilot, not only on Microsoft 365, but Azure as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like, if you can show me that, or you can tell me how that works, that would be great. Plugins for other applications, does Microsoft have a list of plugins?
Yes, they do have a list of plugins.
Automation of the help desk and back-end automation are really two areas that I'm most interested in.
Yes. Yeah, that's perfectly what the first use case is. Yeah, nice. You have any questions?
So none of this is local, right? Everything has to go to cloud. So in today's world, some of the medical concern is that they don't want to, load their data anywhere else.
Correct.
So does this model somehow can be loaded locally so that all the files which I'm feeding to it remains local?
Yeah, you can create your own custom models for that.
It will run locally.
It will run locally only. So if you know what, if you see like how this model works, it's like a set of Python libraries which are created in TensorFlow, right? So why we use ChatGPT? Because it is trained on a larger data set. It has pretty much information till like 2023 from past like 100 years. The model what you have, if you want it to be created like a ChatGPT, the model has to be trained in that larger data set. So that's why it's called like large language models, right? So it's about like you create your own. Say for example, there's a company, they don't want the information to be shared anywhere. They don't want to be in the cloud at all. Right? They can create a custom model and they can train that model. Okay, so all these models are pre-trained. Whatever we use, like a Chat GPT or DALL-E or everything is like pre-trained. So the moment you ask a question, it knows what you're trying to ask. Right? These models has to be trained. When you are creating a custom model, all this model has to be trained. So your data should be like very clear on how the model has to be trained. If you don't have that data set, training that model will be like very tedious job and it may not work as expected. And that's where you have something called as hallucinations, right? You must have heard about hallucinations in data model, because it doesn't know it doesn't have that answer for the question. Then it starts thinking about like, and it starts answering the way it knows, as if it knows everything. And most of the time it gives you very confident answer, but the answer is wrong, right? So to overcome all these things is what they came up with this RAG approach, retrieval augmented generator, where you say, okay, I have my data set. I just use you as a model. I give you the data set. You use this as your data set. Now give me answer from this one, right? So that's what we saw in Ktech example. The large language model is again OpenAI, but you have like a bunch of documents. Okay. Now what I told Ktech companion is, don't go find anything in the web. Use this as my input. Now understand this one. Now I'll ask you questions. You answer me from these documents. Don't go out anywhere. And also this Copilot can be trained to say like, okay, if you don't find any answer over here, that's fine. Now you go to Google and Google or web or somewhere find the answer for me. You can also be trained in that way. Okay, so the first use case is like, for example, you're an organization and say, for example, we work with mattress firm. You guys must be aware of mattress firm, right? The company mattress firm, which sells mattresses. And so we work with them. So in the customer service, whenever you get a call in mattress firm, what happens is it goes through multiple hops. Like the first person picks the call. You have a question, he doesn't know. He puts on the next, it goes to the next hop. And he doesn't know, it goes to the other hop, right? And then like it creates a chaos. It takes a lot of time for a question to be answered, right? The reason behind the data are in silos. So one subset of data is sitting in one place, another subset of data is sitting in another place. Now, let's assume you have you created this Copilot, okay, which is sitting which is sitting and listening to the entire conversation. When you talk to a customer, it is listening to a conversation, and then like the moment the customer is asking a question, before you go try find it, it understands your question, talks to the required API or required data, gets the information for you, and that helps you to answer the come to a resolution for the question, right? So that is one of the use cases what we are discussing today in Copilot. So what is the problem here? Most of the time, the support is like time consuming. You have to wait for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 5 minutes, whatever it is. And then most of the time it has like slow resolution. The reason behind the time spent searching for the answers is a lot. And sometimes the answers are inconsistent. You talk to one person, he provides you one answer. You talk to the second person, he will be providing a different answer. And the more your organization or your department is getting upgraded, the knowledge has to be again like being trained to all the customer service people. And it is very hard to track and measure how much time representatives spend searching this knowledge bases, right? So for example, user information is sitting within Salesforce. Okay, all your leads are sitting within Salesforce. Your order information is sitting in Elasticsearch. Your store information is sitting in Microsoft Dynamics, and some other information is sitting in SQL. So you need to have access to all these applications, right? So it becomes like tedious. So Copilot can help customer service representative respond to customer inquiries more quickly and more accurately by suggesting relevant knowledge base. So most of the times you will find very difficult to find the accurate data, because like you sometimes forget, or sometimes the knowledge base get upgraded. So now this Copilot can help you with answering, reading through all those articles, frequently asked questions on previous chat conversations, and previous history of the customer service, all the recordings and everything. It can go through and help you answer it really quick. So it can understand question, look up for answer, and it can provide relevant information to the representatives. So it can do this like pretty quickly, so that the moment you get a call and you come to a resolution, the time between those two calls is like really less. So faster resolution, very few transfers, and improved satisfaction. So for unusual questions, it can go through your conversation history, and it can either connect to a web, or it can also connect through your frequently asked questions, some other knowledge articles, documents, everything. So the result is higher customer satisfaction, improved customer loyalty, faster issue resolution, and increased first call resolution. So the hops been like decreased. So the second use case is about how to use Microsoft Fabric to enable data-driven marketing. Most of the organization today face issues with data silos. So data is being like sitting in different data sources, and say for example, team A created a database or data source which team B already created, because like team A didn't know that there was already a data source which is sitting there, right? So Microsoft Fabric came up with a solution called One Lake, where all your data will be ingested in the Microsoft Fabric, and it also have capabilities for analytics, creating dashboards, reports, forecasting, and everything. And then Copilot is sitting on top of that. Now, using Copilot, say for example, you want to create a report. There is a request that came at the very last moment. You want to create a report. Now you can simply go to the Copilot and ask it to create a report, and it will create a report for you based on the data and everything what has been ingested in the One Lake. Right. So Microsoft Fabric is a platform that enables data-driven application and workflows. These are the key capabilities of Microsoft Fabric. One is it will help you in data ingestion. It has connectors to pretty much all the data sources, it can collect all the data, and it can store data. It can do analytics on top of it. It also has like built-in machine learning models within that. You can apply on your data and get some insights. And it also will help with visualizations because Power BI is integrated with Microsoft Fabric.
And this is all rolled into the licensing model, the general licensing model, or these bolt-ons to Copilot that have additional costs?
No, it is not. It's not general licensing model. It is not something to do with the Copilot.
So,
Separate product altogether. Right. Yes. So this is more for like data analytics. Microsoft Copilot is embedded within this Microsoft Fabric. So you purchase a license for Microsoft Fabric, and you have Microsoft Copilot sitting over there. Now we can start asking questions to the Microsoft Copilot, which is within that Fabric, and it can create reports and everything.
Get the example of the mattress firm, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rerouting of the call because of insufficient data.
Mm-hmm.
So what if AI is suggesting something which is not, authentic because of the capability of understanding of that model? So in this case,
So in that case, like, which means like your training was not correct. So you have to retrain that model.
yeah, but how do the representative know? Because the representative who got the call doesn't have enough data to, come to the conclusion that the response from AI is
So
wrong.
that is what part of the training. Before going into production, it goes to the training, and then like based on the response which is given by the Copilot, then you can say like, okay, this is correct or this is not correct. This is not correct. It will go again go through the training process until you get that thing correct. And most of the time, it is going to be correct because it is being trained only on your data set, whatever you have. It is not going to get trained anything outside your data set.
But interpretation is wrong. Like the AI model is thinking of something else to search for. So it might look for correct data, but it might.
You can always tell that you whatever I'm not looking for this answer. It will again come back with the another answer.
you're saying as part of the iteration of the training?
Yes,
and
yes,
Retraining.
yes, yes. So you train it, then it will fail. Then you say like, no, this is not what I'm expecting. Then it will come back with another. Oh, this is what you're expecting. So your question is very simple. How many apples do you have? You're talking about Apple iPhone, or you're talking about the eating apple, right? So first it came back with saying like I have 20 apples, 10 of them are good, 10 of them are like ruined. Then I said, no, I'm not looking for this apple. I'm looking for Apple iPhone. Like then you need to be like more specific about your question, and it can be like it can be taken care by proper prompt engineering, right? So you ask a question, I get the prompt. Now I can re-engineer that prompt. Okay, then I engineer that prompt. Then now the engineer prompt is like very specific so that it can get like a proper answer for you. So these are a part of like training, prompt engineering, all these processes.
So when we talk about training the model, what level of technical skill does someone need to have to train the model? Is that something a typical end user does or a developer does? And what kind of background would someone have in order to say they're competent in training a Copilot?
So that's the role of a data scientist.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So by this, like you can use Microsoft Fabric to create like personalized, personalized targeted marketing content for your end users. So data-driven marketing with Copilot is built on top of Microsoft Fabric. It's a set of services and tools based on like cloud-based applications. Marketers can have data-driven conversation to get recommendations and content to improve campaigns and connect with customers. So here are some of the sample reports that are generated by Copilot. So you can see like pie chart, bar chart, like graph and everything. So Copilot has capability to, the one which is sitting within Fabric has the capability to build all this kind of chart based on the data set what you have provided. So if you're aware of medallion architecture in in data engineering, then you get the raw data, you fine grain it, make it like a gold layer data, and then you apply machine learning models on top of it. And then once the model is applied on top of the data, and then you ask questions to the Copilot to create charts like this, it will be creating beautiful charts. So benefits of data-driven marketing are increased relevancy, improved targeting, and higher return of investment. By harnessing data and analytics, brands can gain actionable customer insights to drive more effective and profitable marketing. So pretty much you saw all the demos. And here are some of the Copilot offerings from Royal Cyber. So we can help you with readiness. We can help you create your advisory council, and we can help you create custom Copilot, and we can help you deploy your Copilot and be accessible within different channels.